Warning, the following show features stunts performed either by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. Accordingly, everything spicy and the producers must insist that no one attempt to recreate or reenact any stunt or activity performed on this show. I had to unmute myself. Hey, everybody. I am Phil, and this is Everything Spicy. Thank God it's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. You know what's special about this Friday? I had to work. That means I got Saturday and Sunday off. That means I got 2 days in a row off. That means I got 2 days I can work my butt off around my house and other people's houses for the next 2 days. No, we're actually having a party here tomorrow night. Yeah. We're going to cook up some ribs. We're going to have some people over. There might be some adult beverages had. Just saying. There's a slight possibility that adult beverages may be drunken. Maybe some drunken people. I don't know. What's up? Good to see everyone, man. Holy mackerel. Yeah, Friday. Oh, it's getting crazy. Crazy. You know, guys, in a couple weekends from now, we have the Zest Fest. What is it down there in Ohio? Columbus, Ohio is having like their it's not a Zest Fest, 'cause I think that was Texas, but they're having their outdoor thing. I'm trying to find a way to get my butt down there. It's, you know, Saturday and Sunday deal. You know how Sundays are with a lot of these stupid things. You know, Sundays usually, you know, in the morning, the vendors get out there, they do their thing, but they really, after about noon or 1 o'clock, they want to start wrapping that stuff up and get their stuff packed up so they can get home. Columbus Fiery Foods, there you go. They want to get their stuff wrapped up, and I understand. What's up, William Simpson? Good to see you. They want to get wrapped up and get their stuff packed up, get home, have a couple hours before they go to bed, because most of those guys have a full-time job and they have to be there Monday morning. So I understand that. So, you know, the only way I think I'm going to be able to make it is if I can somehow finagle my Friday off for Saturday off and try to make it down there. I don't know how that's going to happen, but we'll try to make that happen. I don't know if I'd want to go to the Chicago one anymore, not until they clean up that crap that's going on in Chicago, right? You know, that could be scary. So let's start off in the chat by saying hello to people. I do appreciate those of you who've shown up in the chat tonight. I'm sure we'll have more people tonight. We have the Peppers in Kentucky living. Peppers in the house. What's up, Peppers? Mr. Fulton is in the house. What's up, Fulton? Good to see you. Shane M is in the house. What's up, Shane? Good to see you. Melissa Spencer, good to see you, girl. Tone Ranger in the house and cutting up pods, more powder, more potato chips. I keep seeing this post on Facebook. I keep drooling. Blake Hurst is in the house. What's up, Blake? Good to see you. Raven, the Blackbird, is in the house. What's up, Raven? Good to see you, sir. We will put out that link in the chat here not too long from now, and you and some other folks can come up. I know it's Friday night. We got to hang out. I don't care who we hang out with. I just, you know, I want to hang out tonight. I want to talk about arcade games, you know. I grew up as a product of the 70s and 80s and arcade games, right? I'm sure a lot of you did. You know, the newfangled games they got nowadays where you look real and all this other stuff. Not really. I can't too many controls, right? I like a couple, 2, 3 buttons and a joystick. Funny how you say joystick. And that's about my level of competition, right? So Dylan Overforce, what's up, man? How you doing? Good to see you. Hey, if you guys haven't shared this out yet, please do hit the thumbs up, share us out. We got 11 people in here. We know we can get more than that. And I know we can get more than that. Did I say hi to Jed Jidex already? If I didn't, hello, Jed Jidex. Blake Hurst is in the house. What's up, Blake Hurst? E-Waste Mike is here. What's up, E-Waste? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Oh, my goodness. Let's see here. That guy is hard at work. He's at home hard at work, but he's at home. Oh, let's see. Scroll through. Oh, we're going to go backwards now. William Simpson's in the house. I had an idea a little bit earlier. Phil, come to Indiana State Fair. It ends in Sunday, 22nd on Sunday. No. Newfoundlanders, what's up, man? How you doing? Yeah, I was looking at that today, Mike. For my work, it was like 3 hours and 56 minutes, and my work is almost an hour. So it'd be like a 5-hour drive down there. I'd have a hard time leaving on Saturday to get in a hotel room and then spend just a couple hours and driving 5 hours back. I'd definitely have to. I definitely would have to go down Saturday night. So I have to see if I can make that happen. I don't know. I'd like to see my buddy Brad Muglot again. That's cool. I say hi to Newfoundlanders. What's up, man? Good to see you. And then, of course, is it that weekend or next weekend? I don't know. One of these weekends coming up, we got Lapeer Days, guys. Lapeer Days is Walmart on steroids. Okay, so imagine all these screwed up and effed up people that you see in Walmart. And I don't mean handicapped people. That's obviously not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about normal people that are screwed up and messed up. That's what I'm talking about. Kathy Gahan is in the house. What's up, Kathy? Good to see you, girl. That's what I'm talking about. People that should be normal, but act and dress and put makeup on and whatnot abnormally. I mean, nothing like a good trip into Walmart or Lapeer Days to tickle your funny bone. So we are going to invite some folks in here because we are going to talk about video games. Again, I am. What's up, CB Unglesby? How you doing, man? People like Phil. What, I missed something? I'm sure it's not Mike saying people like Phil. It's people like Phil. Give me a pong instead of being I'm good. Oh, well, maybe I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. I know I'm wrong. I know Mike's not going to give me a compliment. People like Phil. Oh, but as a product of the 70s and 80s, I grew up in bowling alleys. I grew up in malls. I grew up in an American Legion Hall. Lots of places my folks went and took me and things where there were arcade games, and that was what occupied our time, right? People like Phil. Nobody likes Phil. Right, exactly. See, that's more of what I expected, Mike. But those were the places. I remember a place. We're going to go back now. I'm in Michigan, so you got to think about this. The Pontiac Mall. Yes, the same Pontiac that makes the GMC vehicles, or GMC Pontiac Grand Am, Pontiac, whatever. All those Pontiac cars. Same Pontiac, Michigan that gets that name, or the Pontiac Mall. And they had this place in there called Aladdin's Castle. Now, I know Aladdin's Castle. I know Aladdin's Castle wasn't specific to that mall because I'd seen Aladdin's Castles in other malls. Matter of fact, you guys may have grown up. Phil grew up a donation box in the supermarket parking lot. Exactly. You may have had Aladdin's Castle, or just basically an arcade place, right? So that was the big deal. That's a big deal, is those arcade places. One of the things I want to talk about tonight is, what games did you play? What games did you spend the most money on? What games did you hate? There was ones that I disliked that other people really liked, and there's some games that I'm indifferent with, and I know a lot of people really, really, really liked. So there is a gentleman down in the basement, and I will bring him up. And let's see here. We're just gonna pop you up. How about that? What's up, Raven?
No, hold on.
How you doing, man? You everything cool on your end?
Pretty good.
That's good. That's good.
Talking about arcades, I remember a lot of different arcades. I remember the ones that literally where you had to put on these goggles. There was an arcade a while back like that.
Really?
Yeah, it gives you like a virtual reality, and you can look up, you can look down, and play these games.
That's a little bit newer. See, my
Well, that was it. That was actually in the very beginnings of the 90s when virtuality was starting being developed.
Yeah, I've got a niece and nephew that have gone to there's this place in Michigan where you put on this whole suit.
Okay.
And there's things on your fingers, and I mean, you actually feel like you're there.
Hmm.
You know, yeah, funky food. And with Dave says, yeah, in the '80s, the malls were the place to be. I can remember I've talked about this on my channel before. My mom had a job at the.
Sorry, I had to do that. I had to do that too, Mike.
I know you did, to Mike. My mom had a job in the Pontiac Mall, and in the summer times, she had nothing to do with me. My dad would be working. My dad worked at GM. My mom had a job that she had to, and so she dragged me along to the mall. She'd give me, a few dollars in quarters or whatnot. I'd take my allowance, and I'd go down to Aladdin's Castle, and I'd blow through that stuff. I mean, I'd be back, every half an hour.
Nowadays they use tokens or cards.
Yeah, that was one thing when they moved to tokens. Tokens was one of those things. So only tokens would fit in some of those video games. But that was just, and again, having grown up kind of in that environment, of course, when in a mall, that was one of my very first jobs, not a paper route. That wasn't a paper route or things like that, which I had those two way before that. Was working in the mall. I worked in the mall. I did a couple little jobs in the mall. One, I actually sold shoes, believe it or not. I stocked shoes and sold shoes. But that was kind of the place to go. And, there weren't a lot of malls back then.
No.
So you had these malls, but you knew where to find the kids. You knew where to find the kids. Mom and dad would go there to do their things. Give the kids a few bucks. Kids would all go down to the same area, and it's nothing but kids down there. So,
hey, Mike, I'm letting my beard grow. Okay, so shut up.
Oh, funky food with Dave, Defender, Asteroids, and Galaga.
Those games are fun to play at times.
Those games are amongst my highest of games that I talk about, or I was going to talk about. Defender for me, and again, a lot of it had to do with what was where I went, right? You go to an arcade, you got a lot to choose from. But then you also have a bunch of kids around the same game putting quarters on there. So who's next? I'm next. Who's next? So sometimes if you want to play and you don't want to stand there and wait and watch someone else, you got to try other games.
Yeah.
But Defender was one of my big ones at the bowling alley. And I know a lot of you as kids played video games at bowling alleys. If you folks,
yeah.
Even if they didn't bowl, there were bowling alleys everywhere back in the 70s and 80s. The kids would just ride their bicycles up to the bowling alley, nobody bowling there, and they'd be up there playing video games. They had little arcade games area in bowling alleys. And a big one for me was Joust. I don't know if anybody remembers Joust. They're still in Aladdin's Castle in Quincy Mall. Spent at least $20 in tokens one sitting at a 93 X-Men. Holy mackerel. Well, you know what you see the most of nowadays when you see video games? What's up, Crazy Ann? You see Galaga. Galaga is still one of those ones that was like Asteroids, or was it not Asteroids? Asteroids were the
Galaga is
like Space Invaders, right?
Yeah.
Space Invaders was a real basic, probably a late 70s video game. I didn't look any of this up. I'm just talking from the hip here.
Well, Galaga, then there's Asteroids that a lot of people like to play. I mean, those are
like a step up from Asteroids.
Yeah.
So
I played Asteroids. I played pinball. I played all these type of games that, heck, when I played pinball, I used to get it at a good high score. But sometimes people would beat me on Pong. Yes, I remember Pong.
Well, they had that high score on those games for a reason every day. That way, those kids would keep spending more money trying to beat that high score, right? That's exactly why those high scores were on those games, because you just keep feeding quarters into that thing. And man, you'd get so close and you'd make one little stupid mistake. And it'd be like, uh-oh, now you got to go stick another couple of quarters in the game and keep on going. But yeah,
I remember just being a quarter for a long game.
Yeah, well,
That's like a dollar.
yeah, well, normal game for me was a quarter. Now there was some games, and this was before Mike Tyson Punch Out, but it was just called Punch Out.
Hmm.
You had Glass Joe and Pizza Pasta. That was one of those games that was 2 tokens or 2 quarters, and that was one of those ones that the game was seemed to be over quicker, and you spent twice as much. But it
And
was a
then,
bigger game, and,
mhm,
and because it was such a I don't know, I wouldn't say violent game, but like a boxing game, and you're doing
yeah.
what you're doing with the controls, I think it broke more often. So though that was one of those ones that was always busy, always a lot of people doing it. And once you got learned the kind of the trick to some of those games, it definitely made them easier. But
Well, there, Hubert, one of the other games I remember, and then there's Pac-Man.
you're of course your classics, Pac-Man. There were some for me that I didn't necessarily like, and I wouldn't say I didn't necessarily like them, but they weren't games I would typically play. You just mentioned one of them, which is Cubert. I remember Cubert, but it was just one of those games I never quite got. I never quite played it enough to get good at it. So you don't you gotta spend a certain amount of money. What's up, Oji-san? Jimmy, how you doing, man? What is this is late for you? Are you up tonight, or you just he saw the? I know he sent me a message. He saw the thumbnail, and he was
Yeah.
like, "Oh man." I thought it's funny, Jimmy, because I thought about this topic last night when watching you guys. I was thinking, what would be a really good topic? And I was trying to think of topics today at work, try to spend some of my, off time at work thinking of topics.
Mhm.
And this one came to me, and I thought I was going to save it till Monday night. I thought, you know what? No one's live tonight. I think Micah may have just gone live. I'm not sure, but it's a lot of his gaming stuff. I thought, you know what? Let's do this topic tonight, and I would just come up here, and people could just, go by the seat of their pants. And I feel like I smell cigarette smoke.
Then I remember a game called Dragon Slayer.
Was it Dragon Slayer?
Yeah.
Was that the one that was almost like movie scenes, and you went
Yes.
from?
Yes.
That Dragon Slayer?
That actually was also on television before too as well, because it's the only arcade game. And if you ever try to find these arcade games, they're like this big right now.
Thank you, Funky Food.
And actually that's the only game that actually had a laser disc player in it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people didn't realize that laser disc was starting to get popular until they start going down to like DVDs.
Are you sure it wasn't called Dragon's Lair?
Dragon's Lair, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't think that was the right name, but I wasn't going to argue with you because I didn't know what the right one was. Dragon's Lair. That was one that used to just piss me off because I think you got like 3 lives, and you could. I mean, it wasn't as simple as the regular arcade games as far as when to jump, when to do this, when to do that.
Yeah.
And you had to die a few times to figure out how to get by something. And it was expensive. Dragon's Lair was an expensive game to learn how to get good. And I played it a little, but I would tell you it's one of those ones.
It was the hardest game to play at times because you die every 10 seconds or whenever you get into a place.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, imagine, you're playing a video game nowadays on your PS5 or whatever, and you have to stick quarters in there. So imagine, you're playing something, and every time you die, you got to stick you get 3 lives, and every time you die, you got to stick a new quarter in your PS4. Yeah, that you wouldn't be very good at anything, right?
No. Especially when you realize that this game was the only one that actually had a laser disc player inside.
Yep.
The arcade game. And you know what? They got replicas. And if you look up online, you can find these replica arcade games, and they're pretty interesting. And you can also connect them through HDMI to your television or whatever you're playing on. You
Yeah,
can still
and,
play
you
it
know,
through.
my wife got me one of these video games that had 67 of the classics that I can play on the PS4 that I got. But it's not the same because you're using your handheld little PS4 controller. It's not the same. It's
No.
not the same. I would much rather have the stand-up game and play it just like I did. Even the ones where nowadays I remember back Costco years ago, they had this big stand-up thing that had a dozen or more of the arcade games in it, and you could play them. But it had more buttons, and it had two joysticks, so it didn't always coincide. Again, I like the video games as they were. If it's Joust, you got four, the 2 or 3 buttons you got the joystick, and that's it. Now, one thing I want to talk about. Let me bring Mr. Fulton up. I'm talking for right now, Fulton, so don't talk over me. I always wonder on these replicas, it says, used video game, stand-up video game. I wonder if it's got the burn marks from the cigarettes still on them that people would sit, on certain areas when they were playing. Because it never failed, because everybody could smoke inside back in those days, that these different video games and whatnot, someone would have a place where they sat their cigarette while they played their video game that wasn't in their mouth. And they always had these little cigarette burn marks on all of them. So, what's up, Fulton?
Nothing much, Phil. I got some good news.
We're here to talk about video games. What good news you got? You got a new video game?
I actually do. I got a PlayStation gift card.
Cool.
And I won on the radio on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I got one of these.
You got one of these.
The State Fair tickets.
State Fair tickets. You were talking about that last night, how you got free tickets.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And these are the ones I have to do. It's like I think it's like the Midway rides.
Yep.
I got 2 of those.
Yep.
And I got one for the Dairy Ball is like grilled cheese sandwich, and the other one is a free milkshake.
So, what video game have you ever played one of the? I mean, I know you're young. You're a youngster. You're just 22 years old. Have you ever played an arcade game? Not a PS4, PS3, Xbox, or anything. Ever played a stand-up arcade game?
These are
I
the
have
mini
before.
arcade games.
Probably like Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
Yep.
You see, Pac-Man is like your classic, right? I don't care who you are. I don't care what your skill level is. You can go on Pac-Man, and you should be able to get by the first screen with the 3 lives that they give you, right? What's up, Donald Morris? How you doing?
Hey, Raven, I just saw you last night.
Now, see, here's one that I love. Missile Command, right? You had usually you had 3. I'm going to say you had like 3 little stations that you could shoot from that had 3 different buttons, and you were rolling this ball and this plus sign all over the screen, and these missiles would be coming down at you, and the longer you played, the faster that thing got, and you got to a point where you're putting like a mist of missiles across there. So when the missiles were coming, when the rounds were coming down at you, they would just hit that. But yeah, see, that's one I hadn't thought of, Funky Food, and I love that game. I loved Missile Command. That was one of the ones that I played a lot of. So.
Oh yeah, Phil, I forgot to tell you. I told you on Tuesday I tried the cheesecake bites.
The cheesecake bites from the fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, fried cheesecake bites are good.
Yep, I had them and they were delicious.
Yep. Donald Moore said he had Frogger and Miss Pac-Man. And I like Frogger. Frogger seemed like more one of those ones that was a good tabletop arcade game. Were you actually sitting down and playing that? Actually, I had when I got out of the military, we had friends that we would go over their house, and they had a tabletop, but their tabletop was a Miss Pac-Man. And we would play that stupid thing. Yeah, it was free, right? You didn't have to worry about dying and putting quarters and stuff in it. I would love to get a stand-up coin-operated arcade game. And I know Raven was holding some up there on his phone just a minute ago. And I looked at some of them. I mean, they want $2,000-$3,000 for these used video games on Amazon. And I'm sure, and the biggest thing I worry about, because, hey, I was if a button goes bad or if a joystick stops working or whatnot, because that's the biggest frustration when you'd be at a place and something didn't work quite right. The fire button always didn't fire every time you push it, or didn't fire at all, and you stuck a quarter in there and it was out of order or whatever. Those were some of the frustrating things that you had going to arcades. But and then of course a lot of your arcades, as they were starting off arcades, a lot of them also incorporated pinball machines. I know a lot of you remember the pinball machines. I loved pinball machines. Matter of fact, as a kid growing up, my parents used to, they were members of the American Legion Hall because my dad was a retired Air Force, and they had a pinball machine, and right next to it, they had a stand-up arcade machine. And of course, that's where they were doing their thing there. That was my thing. That's what I was doing. So
I remember a lot of these type of games too, because it's like interesting to see these games being so popular back then, and now they're making their comeback. And I'll tell you this, I literally I was looking up online, checking out mini arcade games. They're like replicas of the ones that you used to stand and play them.
Now, if you want to collect those for whatever reason, that's great. But I don't see those as a good alternative. If you want to get them because you loved them and you want to have a man cave, or you want to have a room that you got all those little mini arcade games in there, even if they do play and whatnot, I wouldn't play them because I got a feeling they would probably break really easy. But they would be so cool to kind of have this as a display, just as
something like something to show the people that this is what I remembered.
Yeah,
and they're not. Yeah. And you could say, I don't advise you to play them because if they break, they're hard to replace at times.
Yeah. Will the Rocker said he was a pinball. One thing I liked about pinball, unlike a lot of these games, is pinball you could get up to a certain amount and you could win a free game. Nothing better than playing pinball and hear that knock sound on the wood. That means that you got a free game, right? You're doing ding 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 ding.
I usually when I used to play those.
What's that?
Play those pinball machines. I used to always get a free game at every single 20-25 minutes, and it's like, okay, I broke it again. And I kept on playing for a while.
Yeah, that was one nice thing, because again, you didn't get free games from any electronic games. If you got a high enough score, that they usually, most of those things show you a certain high score or higher, you got a free game. And then there was always the chance. There was always, if it landed on a certain number, if your score landed on a certain number and it matched that number at the end, that would get you a free game too. So that was kind of like a cool thing about pinball machines back in the day. So
a lot of people played those too, and those were like from this. Actually, some of those pinball machines came from the 50s.
Oh yeah,
all the way up, and a lot of people like those games. In the times today, I mean, I see kids playing video games, and we still have an arcade game in one of our malls, and it's like not like what it used to be.
Yeah, Will the Rocker sent me a tabletop. Was that Miss Pac-Man? Yeah, those are cool, man. Those are so cool. But
here's another one for you, Phil. It's Donkey Kong. They had those arcade.
Donkey Kong, again, another one of my favorite games was Donkey Kong. Right? You got to the thing with Donkey Kong is it tested your patience, right? Because you wanted to. You say, I know how to do this level. I can time this and do this. And it tested your patience because you had to be patient. You had to wait for certain times. You had to do things a certain way. And then you couldn't hesitate at moments. And that's one thing about Donkey Kong I used to love love that game. So
A lot of people liked it too. I mean, it's like, and actually, if you look at the characters that's trying to rescue the little girl or the little princess, that's actually Mario.
it's kind of the same kind of idea, right?
Yeah. Well, no, it actually was Mario because that's how they started off Mario Avenger.
Having a princess, yeah. Mayberry, man, I used to tilt the machine. I wasn't real bad with it, but if I could see that thing, when a ball was going down the chute, I would try to jiggle that thing a little bit, because there was bumping that was allowed. The pinball machines allowed you to do a certain amount of bumping and shuffling and things like that. But there was a point in time on those things when if you bumped it too much, man, yeah, definitely
it would kill it.
Ball just falls down. You can't flip the flippers, nothing, and you don't get any of your points that
And it kills it right there. And it's like trying to avoid to tilt the machine.
Yeah. So
And you had to get the guy to come over to where you're playing the pinball machine to reset the machine. And when he resets it, it's like, damn it, I had to play again.
No, see, when they tilted when I played, that just means that ball was over, and then it would come back, and then you just play your next ball.
Well, sometimes it doesn't know. Sometimes it would literally lock the game completely and say you can't play.
Here's a game I don't know. Shinobi? What is Shinobi? Shinobi. You're making me look. Oh, there it was.
Shinobi.
Yeah, maybe I got to see this game in order to remember what it was. Ninja versus Shinobi. It's a Sega game. So was it a stand-up game? Or I mean, I can remember. I guess I remember Shinobi.
Actually, a ninja or a shinobi was a covered agent.
Yeah,
it was a game. It was an actual game. It was like probably later on. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I remember that. It was never one of the ones. I can tell you that I played it at times, but it wasn't one of the.
It originated from Japan.
Did it?
Mm-hmm.
Mayberry. I admit I knocked it out the hell out of you. Oh, I got frustrated at a video game machine or two where you hit something and that son of a bitch is headed right down the middle. There's nothing you can do, and you scoot the whole thing over 2-3 inches. You definitely get a tilt then, but.
Well, most video games you can't really do anything. You can't even tilt the machine.
Well, yeah,
but they're fun. There a lot of these games that you see that you play. A lot of people play. Were very interesting playing at times. And then later on, they start bringing out like Star Wars games, Star Wars pinball.
Another one I never really cared for, and I'm sure someone in the chat's probably going to not like this, was Dig Dug. Remember Dig Dug?
Oh, God.
Dig Dug was one of those ones I always kind of looked at it and said, why? Why? It seemed like a weird game. Again, if it was the only thing that was at a place, I would sit there and spend a few quarters on it, but it was never anything that I would sit there and put any kind of serious money into trying to get further in it. So, Hey, Saucy Shane, what's up, brother?
Hey, Saucy.
I hope you got the link there, Saucy. The link is out there if you want to come up here and you want to talk about video games, arcade games, not video games. Let me make sure. I wanted to make sure I got this straight for everybody so everybody understood what we were talking about. And I'm no video game or arcade game expert. I only remember what I remember. And Raven and people in the chat have already started reminding me of games like Donkey Kong. And I thought of Donkey Kong. I thought about sitting down here and writing all this stuff down and being all prepared. But I wasn't sure I was going to go live. I was kind of watching to see if anybody else went live. Then I just thought, well, screw it. Well, then by the time I decide I'm going to go live, I usually give it 10 minutes and I go in and I set up for everything and just say, let's go live. So
When I got what I got for Christmas, it was one of those kind of little games that I don't know, Alien, or it's like we're shooting all these aliens. You're like moving and you move the ship and you try to shoot all these aliens that are coming down.
Mm-hmm. Isn't
Wait,
was that Aliens?
you're talking
is that,
about?
Is that space?
Are you
talking
talking
Space
about?
Invaders?
What?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
You're
this
talking
is Space Invaders.
Yeah,
Space Invaders.
To me, Space Invaders. I mean, you kind of started off with Pong, right? I think Pong was probably one of the first things that you could play on TV, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Where obviously got two people with a little paddle, a little round disc on either, and you got the ball going back and forth, and then of course Pong
It gets annoying too.
and Pong turned into a one-player game called Breakaway, right?
Uh-huh.
So you got all the bricks up at the top, and you hit the brick, and it comes, and you break it down, and one comes, and then you try to get it up in the top, or go where it's breaking away all the things on the breakaway. I'm sure I'm bringing back people's memories, but
Yeah.
these were your at-home video games. These weren't your arcade games.
Well, see that was like our Atari games that you kept on playing each time.
Yeah, and Atari did have some stand-up video games, and they did transform into having their own home systems. So Contra was a good game. Contra was another one of those ones. I was never very good at it. I probably played it more than like things like Dig Dug, because you had to have all the little different guns. It would transform you into a different gun, and it would spray a different way. And Snake is another classic game. Well, you know what? Snake. I'm not thinking Snake, but I was thinking of like what is the one where it would go around? God, not Tetris. I want to think of Tetris. God, it was a big tunnel, and things would come up the tunnel, and you go around the outside and shoot down in there. It's like you weren't even really shooting. It was you would push. I forget what the heck that name of that game was.
Think of that game. I know what you're talking about. It's just
Centipede was always good. Funky Food just put up Centipede. Centipede was always a good one. That was one that it kept getting faster and faster and faster, and then you had to shoot things a certain way, and then get yourself to a certain point where when they would come down, you'd get them all. There's a strategy to that.
And then I remember Nintendo had what they call Duck Hunt.
Duck Hunt.
Where you played on your television, and you're shooting it, and what I used to do is anytime I see that little annoying dog, I would shoot right at it.
Well, they had Duck Hunt in the arcade.
Yeah, but nothing would happen to the dog, but you had to shoot the birds to get the point, the ducks. And
I always kind of wondered how that worked with a picture tube TV, right?
Yeah.
There must have been something to do with the color of the ducks or something that it would reflect back at the gun or something. I don't know how that worked. Because obviously a picture tube TV don't know what the hell you're doing. Has no not like any kind of touchscreen TV. So I always kind of wondered how that works. So
just has to use what they call a
It's okay. Well,
the gun had a little sensor, and anytime you try to shoot each one, you had to aim actually at the ducks just to hit the ducks.
Yeah.
So that you get this annoying dog that keeps on coming up.
Exactly right. But what got me is how did it sense that you had shot? So what happened is you got Duck Hunt at home, right? Mm-hmm. Now you're right up against the screen, right? That's right there. Boom, 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 boom.
Actually, you really didn't have to be close to the
3
screen.
or 4 feet away, like you were maybe in an arcade, because an arcade, not only were you standing back a little bit from it, but then you had the plexiglass, and then what was going on behind. Duck Hunt wasn't as I recall, wasn't right up against the glass. It was a little bit back from that, so it gave you an little extra distance too.
Uh-huh.
So Raven, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What's that?
What about Asteroids? Have you guys played that before?
I played that so many times. It's like shooting asteroids at time, and then when you start noticing it start going faster, and you got to hit it at the right time just to be able to destroy the asteroids, or if the asteroid hits you, you destroy. See, but that game came from a computer. That started originally at a computer.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Because again, I used to see that the asteroids was one of those. When you were playing something like Joust or Defender,
Yeah.
asteroids was one of those what they would consider classic.
Yeah.
So
Well, see, because when I remember when computers start coming out, they also had a way of playing games too.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that was a big allure for people when gaming systems came out, like Atari or Nintendo and whatnot. Initially, it was getting the classics, the things that you like playing in the arcade, and getting them on those screens, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, what these arcade games is actually really oversized computers. I mean, but there's no internet. There was nothing that we would, like share. We would, like nowadays you screen share everything, like
Sure.
on your cell phone and stuff like that,
yeah.
and how good you got, what scores you
Or-
got, and stuff like that. Or you're playing games through, and you're sharing it online, and you're like playing with other people, like Fortnite.
And I was
What
trying
is
to kind of stick with the classics,
Yeah.
stick with the arcade games tonight. I mean, that was, to me, again, I can't talk about anything beyond what I did in high school and your home entertainment systems like Nintendo 64. Intellivision was one of the ones. Everybody had Atari, and my parents got me Intellivision. And Intellivision to me was like second fiddle to Atari, or then of course when Nintendo 64 came out. But again, the arcades. I'm trying to think what other. Come on, guys. What other good arcade games do you remember that we haven't mentioned? We've mentioned things like Defender. I mentioned Joust. I love Joust with the pterodactyl that would come after you. You'd be flying on top of what I think was an ostrich, and you'd flap the wings of the ostrich. And you have
Well,
to get to the egg.
in the 80s, they also had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games too.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, yeah.
And then they had,
And they also got like Galaga, something like that.
Yeah,
Galaga.
I love Galaga. Like Galaga was one because Galaga, you were always trying to get the. Oh, you like the racing game. Galaga, you were always trying to get the second spaceship. So you were firing twice as many rockets up at the space. The space invaders, I would call them, coming down at you. So yeah, Tiger Muskie said Galaga too. Paperboy. Now see, Paperboy's another one of those. I remember Paperboy was one of those ones. I forget you had to do something pretty weird. I forget how Paperboy worked there.
You're playing a character that's a Paperboy in a game where he's throwing papers and trying to hit a door or hit something.
But it was different than having a joystick and some buttons. I forget what it was.
I think it was like a control pad and stuff
I forget how that thing worked. Kind of like Golden Tee. Golden Tee was one of those things that I was never very good. Golden Tee was one of those things that you had to spend a lot of money on. So you had to figure out exactly how hard you spin that ball to hit that golf ball to get it to go, 100 yards or 150 yards. And those are those games that, you dump a lot of money in to try to figure them out. So.
Hey, Jenny. There's several different kinds of games I remember. I mean, like I can literally go back to the games that I used to play at my mall a while back when we used to have a really good sized arcade games. What they did is they took a front of a plane.
Mm-hmm.
And they would set it right there where people can go in there and feel around with it and play with it. An actual part of a plane that they used like where the co-pilot sits and stuff, and you would be playing around with them.
I know Jimmy's in here to fill us in on the ones that we haven't mentioned.
Oh yeah. Y'all still talking about video games?
Absolutely, arcade games.
Arcade games. So,
Good arcade games. That I mean, there's several I could remember, but I mean, there's some
did
that
you bring up Tron.
I
Oh
didn't.
God, Trump!
Oh
Someone
no,
mentioned-
we haven't.
someone
I
mentioned
forgot
it
to
in the
say
chat.
that.
Someone mentioned it in the chat, and I saw that. And again, one of those games I knew how to play.
Yeah.
I didn't play it a lot, but one of those ones I knew how to play.
So there was
see-
also this game called Quicks that I was really into. It
Yeah.
was kind of a connect the lines kind of game.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And then it was just QIX, Quicks. And then there was one, Tempest was one of my favorite ones.
Tempest
Tempest,
is another
yeah,
one.
Yeah, Tempest.
What's up, Eileen?
Well, go back to Tron because I
Mhm.
remember when Disney came out with the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
A lot
I
of
remember
people thought that was based. It was actually based on a computer game. That also was an arcade game as well.
You know what I just looked up and reminded me of something is remember Burger Time?
Oh yeah.
Where you had the bun and the meat and the lettuce and the pick, and you were running away from. Now see that was the game I could remember, but I don't know. I'm trying to think. Did I play that a lot at the video game place at the arcade? Or was
Yeah.
that something I played some on the computer? I don't know.
You did you guys talk about Donkey Kong yet?
We
Yeah.
talked
Yeah,
about
we
Donkey
talked
Kong
about
a
it.
little. Talked about a little.
The biggest draw, Donkey Kong was a cool game, but the music that those games played in the arcade back then really stuck in your head. And I think the reason Donkey Kong, part of the success was that deep bassy music that was coming out of that thing, because it attracted everybody around it.
Oh yeah, it was definitely one of the
It was
ones that
actually the
louder.
most popular game that a lot of people didn't love to play, and they try to get to rescue the princess. And a lot of people didn't realize when you look at the characters from Donkey Kong and you see Donkey Kong trying to roll down barrels, and you got to avoid those barrels each time.
All right, who's making out the racket?
Cubert was fun, and Phil, while I was in the chat there for just a second, I heard you talking
It's
about
Phil.
the original Punch-Out game, the arcade game. That
Fulton.
arcade version of that was awesome.
Hang on.
Okay.
All right.
So like Mr. Fulton's eating a bag of chips or something.
I don't know.
Possible.
What was your favorite game? Miss Pac-Man?
Yes.
Yeah, Marcia Dale's all about Miss
Marcia.
Pac-Man.
She seems like she'd be a Miss Pac-Man. I mean, chicks, I'm sorry if this sounds sexist, but the girls didn't seem to be as big into video games as guys. When you walked into an arcade,
Mm-hmm.
it was probably a 10-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
At least where I grew up. You know? You'd see more guys playing arcade games than you would girls.
Yep.
Well, I seen both. I
Well,
seen
you
most of
saw
the girls.
both, but I don't think there was ever a time where it was a 50-50
Oh.
mix.
Well, I mean, it was not. It was like when you go into an arcade game, you're playing the games, and you're seeing
What's up, Dr. Smith?
mostly guys playing it, but also then you see maybe their girlfriends watching them play, and they're starting to get interested, and they're starting to play games, and it's pretty interesting to see.
Now, later on, when I was joined the Air Force and I was an 18, 19-year-old, still hanging out in the arcades because there were still arcades back then. But there was a game called Starblade. Which
Oh, God, that's another
that was
one.
one of my favorite games ever.
There's
All right,
like
you look this up.
Starblade.
It was one of the first that had really good 3D graphics for the time. And it was almost like a ride more than a game because
Oh,
you
really?
just kind of control it and shot.
I think I remember this. If they would hurry up and get beyond the intro of this stupid thing.
Right now you
Starblade
got
was awesome. I love
now you got games where you can sit on like a replica of a motorcycle, and you're like Plain, yeah,
Yep,
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, look at those. Look at those
All right,
grads.
now I can remember that. I remember that. Now that I saw that, I
Actually,
remember that.
did you know? A lot of people don't notice that.
It kind of looks like something out of Star Wars. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
but it wasn't. It was more like a virtual reality game too, as well, because a lot of people didn't realize how
Travis.
popular it was getting.
How you doing, brother?
Hey, Groovy.
I got this fucking migraine.
Oh no, you were dealing with something last night because you.
Yeah. I had a migraine last night. I took some medicine, fell asleep for a little bit, woke up with it, still going.
Although about an hour into the Athletes live stream, you seem like you were feeling no pain.
Well, that's just because I know how to turn on the energy. That's faking it till you make it.
Well, for me, it's like, even if I get up in the morning and I feel like shit and I don't want to go to work, I feel like if I sit at home, I'll feel even worse. So I think the best thing for me is to get up, get a shower, shave, shit, get in the car, go to work, and you get over it. If you go to work and after 2, 3, 4 hours of being at work, you ain't getting over it, then maybe there is something wrong with you. But most of the time, it's either lack of sleep or maybe you had a little too much to drink or eat last night or whatever.
See, everybody thought like I was in there doing chugs and I was drunk as shit and I passed out. I had one beer yesterday. I did that one chug at lunch and that was it. And it was a Goes. It was a 4.2. And I was like, and everybody, I was watching the Micah pre me showing up and they're like, oh man, he was chugging beers and he's probably drunk, passed out. I'm like, no, dude.
There was another game that was pretty interesting. Duke Nukem.
Shut the fuck up, Raven. Nobody was talking.
Duke Nukem. It wasn't in the arcades though.
Again, I remember the
Actually,
name.
it was.
Duke Nukem did have an arcade. Duke Nukem 3D actually came out in arcade before it came out on MS-DOS.
Dude.
Just like Doom came out in the arcade before it came out on the computer.
So, Travis, what's your favorite
ahoy,
arcade
everybody.
game?
My favorite arcade game, there's two of them. I am a big fan of the Jurassic Park being in the like Jeep thing, and it has the guns that you're like fighting the dinosaurs on the way out. The other one is a game called Time Crisis, and it has a pedal where like you crouch and you have a pistol, and you step on the pedal on the ground and you pop out of cover and you shoot, and then you take your foot off and it goes back behind cover. Those are my two favorite arcade games besides House of the Dead, which was also awesome. I like shooting games in the arcade.
Did you ever do the quick draw cowboy game? What was that called? Mad Dog McCree or something like that?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah,
Mad Dog's Gold. Mad Dog's Gold.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Then
Had
when
the little
Tur-
laser disc. Yeah.
And I noticed Terminator was also an arcade game as well as a movie.
So that's your Duke Nukem?
Damn, I'm looking good.
Yeah,
no. That the remake and the put out, that was horrible. Oh yeah, Dylan, I did like, it was like a 5-minute stream. I just finished it right before I came on here and said my piece, and now I'm over it.
Press one button.
well, it's connection there, Phil.
What's up, Gibbler? All right. So we got to be missing some. Again, I know I got the core ones in there: Defender, Joust, Galaga, Asteroids, Space Invaders, Donkey Kong. There's a Donkey Kong Jr., as I recall.
Yep.
Gauntlet.
Gauntlet. I'm trying to think. Gauntlet.
Red Warrior is about to die.
And there was one more too.
The Archer, the Magician. You'd be the Archer, the Magician.
Oh yeah, Gauntlet. Yeah, the 4-player one. Yeah.
Yep.
Remember the truck racing? What was it? Ivan something's truck racing game, where it had 4 steering
I
wheels.
remember Gauntlet.
Iron Man. It was Ivan the Iron Man something truck racing. That was an awesome game. Too.
Gauntlet was originally Atari.
Yeah.
I mean, it was arcade, but it got transported back to Atari. And that was the best part about Gauntlet. Was I actually watched a documentary on it. It was one of the first games on Atari that actually had a little bit of voice on it, even though it was like mechanical and stuff. It was one of the first ones that was like,
Yep.
There's your old
Yeah,
Gauntlet.
that's a remaster. The original Gauntlet was like
Oh, okay.
way crappier.
Okay.
Like I'm talking about Atari graphics.
way
like,
crappier.
Yeah. Did we say the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, the arcade game?
I, knew
that
you-
one
I
was
thought that's what you
awesome.
were fixing to say a while ago.
I think someone
I
brought
re-
it up, but no one
I
really
did.
went into it.
Not Turtles in Time. I'm talking about the original that came out on NES as the port for NES. It was
Yeah.
the best one.
Well, I was, going along the idea of arcade games. The going into an arcade and what you were seeing in the arcades was kind of the start off theme on this.
So you got to talk about fighting games. Then you got your Mortal Kombat, your
Mortal
Street
Kombat.
Fighter, and all that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. And I was never any good at any of those. All those ones where you had to kick and duck and all those things. I was good at the Donkey Kongs and the Galagas, and I don't know why I was never. And those were big games, and a lot of people. Maybe it's because there were so many people playing them. I kind of moved on to something else and went and wait around to play one of those games. So
Then you get your
what about
ass handed to
Contra?
you.
right.
What about Contra?
Yeah.
I played Contra. You get
Demo.
the different gun. Your gun would upgrade as you went along.
Yeah, you always go for the spread, man. The spread was the best.
Exactly.
Bill, do you remember that game called Combat? It's like you were looking down on the battlefield and you had a roller ball and a knob.
There's a
And,
little soldier.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that one too. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially the music.
Yeah.
That in 1942.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Like, I
that's-
played-
There's one.
I played a lot
But
of
there was-
ports onto like Nintendo and Atari
Yeah.
and stuff. I grew up actually pretty poor, so I didn't really get to go to arcades.
Mhm.
That was not our thing. Like, but I played a lot of the games later on in life that are actually the actual arcade ports.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that came out for like regular Nintendo was like the best ports.
If you get that program called MAME, you can get the ROMs for almost any arcade game that ever existed and play it on your computer.
Thank
But I
you,
suck
Dylan.
at fighting games.
We give Dylan a little appreciation here. Thank you, sir. Now she's just known as Tan Lines.
Tan lines. Hey, do you remember the Star Wars game? Because looking back at Starblade, and we said that looks like Star Wars. Do you remember the little? It was just like vector line graphics, but it was the original Star Wars game that you sit inside of it, and you did the whole trench run, and that was awesome, man.
I do remember.
I
that. don't
remember playing that
it,
too.
but I do remember that.
A
And
lot of
like all the
people,
stickers and stuff, it was like you were in a fucking X-wing. It was pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
All right, I got to find 1945 here for Blake.
And it
There's
just got
one
harder
game-
and harder.
I played when I was little. It was called Rampage.
Yeah, I remember
Oh, yeah.
Rampage. Yep.
It was a total ripoff of Godzilla and King Kong, by the way.
Well, they couldn't get the license for Godzilla and King Kong, so like, fuck it. Rampage was born.
Strikers.
Yeah. When I used to,
I wish I had like what the setup like Micah does. You can just pull it right up on the screen. He's good at that. He's good at pulling shit right up on the screen. Just give him a couple seconds.
Oh, Jim may hit you too, Phil.
Hey, Gemma. That looks like what was that called? Strikers? That's your Strikers. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. That's what
Oh
they-
yeah, there you go. That's like a 1942 type game.
Or 1942, 1945 is what this is. Gemma, thank you, girl. I appreciate it. We got to give Gemma something, right? What are we going to give Gemma? Let's see what Gemma.
If you get that stupid alcoholic that spills half his fucking whiskey, I'm gonna lose my shit.
No.
You got a tendency for taking all your clothes off. Oh man, hot damn, you got a body like. Oh man, hot damn, I'm falling hard
I did it just because you said that shit. What's up, McNeil?
See, he purposely threw that shit down. I at least was innocently got drunk and kicked mine over. So you know. It is fixing to come a fucking thunderstorm here. Like
Oh, is
the
it?
sky is opening up. Yeah, it's going crazy.
We had a couple over the last few days. I don't think we got anything in the forecast now. I think the next few days is all good. But man, we were picking up branches here. We were picking up branches everywhere. So
We've been rocking like 106 heat index for a solid week. So it'll be
I'm not-
nice.
we
So, Jimmy, are you
rarely-
saying you want to do a spoonful of the bomb? Is that what you said you wanted to do?
No. How would you like that to be your evening temperature right now?
I would love
Jeez.
that.
It'll be all right.
All right. Yeah,
Hey.
the next 3 days are in like the mid to low 70s as a high, which is nice because we got people coming over. So,
Travis,
Phil,
we need to set up a bomb stream and just get a bunch of people with the bomb. Do
We
a
can
little
do that.
wing eating contest.
I don't know. We
So
want to make it a
you-
wing eating contest, but you want to dump a bottle of the bomb in a plastic Tupperware container and bring 10 wings up. We can make that shit
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, I mean, I did like, mine wasn't covered at all. It was just a nice little bite of it. That was fucking hot enough, but it's
That's
just
like-
nasty.
That's like
Devin
number
was
8.
laughing because she knows how bad it is too. She's like, Jimmy's gonna be hurting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's like number 8 on the hot ones. It's some hot shit.
Well, the
By the
other
way, did
sauce
anybody
we did was
sorry.
7, I think. The other sauce,
Yeah,
had
the hotter than
L.
L.
And that's really good. That's a real good sauce. Y'all would love that one.
It's a good one. I got it.
Gemma, what's up, Gemma?
Hey, Jim.
Hello,
Hey, Gemma.
hello,
Hello,
Phil.
Gemma.
Hey, OJ-san.
Hey.
Ruby Lava,
Gemma.
Mr. Fulton, Raven. How are you?
All right, so
Ahoy.
Great, how are you
any of
doing?
these, are any of these video games or arcade games? I want to keep this straight. Are any of these arcade games hitting you here in the UK where you're from?
I know one of the favourites I used to play was a Nintendo game called Paperboy that I used to play when I was very, 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 very young girl.
Paperboy in
And
the arcade.
Super Mario was another one that I used to play a lot. There used to be a driving game me and my sister used to play. Oh wow, what was that called?
Ooh, Battle.
That was also on
Hell
the
yeah.
Nintendo. Called a game called Outrun, which me and my sister actually still
Oh.
play. 'Cause we actually have a Nintendo at her house.
I got you.
Yeah.
I get to play games, so I go to her house.
Yeah, the racing
So-
games is something
No,
we
no,
haven't
we-
hit on yet. You know.
Now, when you went over to the Queen's house and she had these stand-up arcade games, did you ever play any of the stand-up arcade games at the Queen's house?
I wish I could go to the Queen's house. I wish.
So,
Everybody
Phil,
ever
do you
go to
re-
the Queen's house?
do you remember pole
I've
position?
been to the local arcades here. I actually did a walkthrough video a couple of weeks ago where I showed like the Pac-Man game. I shared the air hockey table, and a few other classic games that are in my local arcade. And
Ooh,
people
Dwight
keep asking me
Church
to go
brought up a
back,
big one.
so I'm going to try and go back there and film some of the other arcade machines that I didn't get to get in the video, but yeah.
I
Now the
remember
question is,
500. Yeah. Go ahead.
does skee ball count as an arcade game? Because it's an arcade. I love
It
skee
does.
ball.
It does count. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
get
it does
those in the
count, yeah.
arcades. Yes. Those are.
I'm just saying, skee ball is the greatest game in an arcade ever. And the
Well,
hint
now-
is always go
Yeah,
for the
we
100
have
in
a
the corner.
ski
Don't
ball
go for anything else.
in the arcade here. So
Now, see, if I could get you guys to come to Branson, there's a giant ass arcade down there that's got massive ski ball.
Jimmy,
you
we're
know.
not coming to Branson, man. We're not coming to fucking Branson.
But when you go back, you start talking about stuff like that because I can remember we had a place in Waterford called 313, which was our area code back in the day, which of course has changed.
Yeah.
100 times
Everybody
since
in the
then.
313, put your
In the-
motherfucking hands up and follow me.
Exactly. Well, it all used to be the 313 back in the day.
No.
But they had the foosball. You paid coins for the foosball. They had air hockey. You played coins. They had a lot of those pool tables. Hell, you used to go back in the
Hell, yeah.
places and there'd be pool tables off to the side. There'd be foosball. There would be air hockey. There would be all of those things on top of having the arcade games. And of course, those types of places like the 313 we used to go to, they used to have a bar in there. So if you were of age, you could drink. Matter of fact, what was it? They have these places nowadays. I forget what it was. They used to have it in the this mall, this where you actually go in and it's a restaurant, and part of the restaurant is getting tokens when you eat, and you go in and play in the games. It's not Chuck E. Cheese either.
Is it Dave and Buster's? Is that where
Dave
you're
and Buster's type places now, right?
Texas has Mr. Gaddy's, where it's like a pizza place,
Right.
and it's arcade as well.
Somehow I knew Raven would be one of those guys with a custom pool stick.
What the fuck are you doing, Raven?
See, he shows up, pulls
Yeah.
out the pool stick, and spends the whole night just putting chalk on the tip, and he just never shoots. He just plays the part. He's like, I saw the movie. What was that? Rounders, or was Rounders Poker?
I was the guy. I didn't even
Pull
look.
hold
I
jump.
just grabbed one off the
A
fucking wall.
classic arcade game for me when I was younger was Sonic. Sonic the Hedgehog
Alright.
was a classic arcade game for me.
Yep.
Now Blake Hurst brought up Spy Hunter. You guys remember Spy Hunter? That was an
Spy
awesome
Hunter.
arcade game.
It was like Spy Hunter. There was one that I played. It was at a movie theater, the Dollar Movie Theater, when I was growing up, and it was like Spy Hunter, where you had the wheel,
Yeah.
and you'd go down the road, and it would drop. Like there would be like a little helicopter that would come and drop down and like
Hey,
put a gun
Dan.
on top of your vehicle, and it
Yeah.
would still be going
Easy.
back and forth. So it's like Spy Hunter, but more of a 3D kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty much Spy Hunter, but it's just better graphics. It was fun.
Yeah, Spy Hunter's kind of cheesy.
Yeah. I
Those-
think
those are
that
definitely
looks like the
some-
Nintendo one there, though.
Oh, is it?
Well, no, that's
Hey,
arcade.
Metal Music.
Yeah,
Donald Morris.
Yeah, that's it. That son of a bitch.
you go back and look at those things, you're like, "God damn, I played that shit."
That
What's up, Harry?
damn black car.
Yeah.
I always hated it. Bang off the road.
What's up, Tuna?
Now, have you ever broken an arcade game? Because I have.
Have I ever broken?
I've broken a pinball machine. I have tilted the shit out of it to where I turned that bitch over.
My uncle,
Yeah.
when I was a little
I
kid,
broke my Rayman game, which I was really, really upset about. I used to play Rayman over and over and over again, and I broke it. So upset myself.
my uncle owned an arcade when I was about 11, and he had a Tron game in there, which was my favorite game. And I broke that big ass blue joystick right off the side of that son of a bitch, and I just set it back down and just snuck away, acting like I had no idea.
I'm surprised
you-
with joysticks I didn't break off more of those damn things. Those things had to have been tough. I mean, they had to be because I would wrench on them. And I know there are people that would wrench on them harder than I did. So
Did y'all ever play? God damn, I had it in my head. now, I
Candy
just forgot. Never
scrapping.
mind.
I'm not still up. I I went to bed at 11 p.m. my time, and I woke up like literally an hour ago. So,
Hydro Thunder. Did y'all ever play that one?
what?
Oh yeah, the boat
Never.
racing game.
Yeah, boat racing where you had the
Yeah,
little handle accelerator and stuff.
I've still got the port of that on my Xbox. I love
I do
Hydro
too.
Thunder. Yeah,
It's called Hydro Racing.
Hydro Thunder.
yeah, it's a boat racing game, but it was. I mean, like the shit would be vibrating and shaking. You had
Hey,
your
Matt
gas
J.
over here. Yeah,
I
and
played those
Kathy,
games too.
Oh, well, that
But
can't- Are you talking about a game you actually sit in and play?
Hmm.
yeah.
You
Okay,
can- yeah.
because I'm seeing that. That's crazy.
That was a fun ass game. Yep. The 90s were kind of the peak of the arcades, and then it just went away. Like when the home consoles got really good and stuff.
if you go onto my channel, I've done 2 different arcade videos. I've shown you 2 different arcades in my area of all the classic game machines and stuff.
We've got a couple still around here. They're just little mom and pop, where they went and bought a bunch of old arcade games, but they're cool. I like going in there.
Yeah, again, I went in the Marine Corps in '86. So I missed the end of the '80s and all of that stuff, and even the beginning of the '90s because once I got out, I was married, so I wasn't going to a lot of arcades. But I can still remember being in the barracks. Not in the barracks. I mean, we'd be in a 4-man room, but there'd be like 6 or 7 of us in there playing Nintendo and playing like WWE wrestling
Mm-hmm.
and the shitty little graphics you would have with these different, WWE or WWF, I'm sorry, wrestlers and all that stuff.
Yeah,
And we would play that
WWF back
stupid
in the
shit
day.
for
Yeah.
hours.
Well, a lot of
I
people
remember
didn't
when it was
realize.
WWF. I used to be obsessed with it. Obsessed with it.
Well, the reason why they changed the name to WWE is because of the other one.
Well, they came to the realization that it's entertainment, not really wrestling. It's
Well, the World Wildlife Fund sued them. So that
did they?
Yeah, and the WWE were involved in some shady stuff, which I've called them out for on a live stream.
I never heard of that.
When Vince McMahon came on TV and he said, "This is just entertainment. I'm not going to insult your intelligence anymore." I thought that was like groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Let's just say one of the things that I called them out for is that I found out that they want to cure autism. And I'm just like, you've got to be serious. What the hell?
Afterburner.
You can't cure it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why I called them out.
Harry's got another good game in the chat. Afterburner.
Hey, Dr. Smith.
Y'all remember
That's the pilot with
that?
the stick and
Yep.
the throttle.
Got the throttle, just like Hydro Thunder. But yeah, that was a badass game.
Yeah.
There's several other arcade games I remember too. Is like where you had to play it in like a place inside the game too.
Oh, one of my favorite arcade games was Tetris. I used to play Tetris.
Oh, God.
That's one of my favorites.
You guys can all see that.
Oh,
Do you know what Tetris was invented by?
Next question, Jeff. Where are you? Right there. Yeah. I just want to thank you for all you've done to your bodies. It's still real to me, damn it. I mean, thank you. Thank you, guys. You're awesome. Thank you so much for saying what you said. I don't want to see another one of these.
So you were talking about Ivan Iron Man Stewart Super Off-Road.
Yeah, that's it.
Road Blasters was the game I was talking about where it would drop a gun on top of your Road Blasters. That's one I played a lot.
And another really good shooter game where you held the gun in your hand was the Terminator 2 shoot up.
Oh, I never did that one. See?
Oh, that was awesome, man.
See, you guys,
all the light gun games are awesome.
You guys were going to all those places. See, I only remember like Duck Hunt, and maybe like Deer Hunter or something. Video games where you actually held a gun in your hand. That you guys were all doing that shit in the late '80s and early '90s when I wasn't doing any of that stuff.
Yeah, the damn guns would vibrate and shit, and you had the little grenade launcher on the side. Oh man, yeah.
I was raised
Still doesn't hold
kid.
anything to Time Crisis. Time Crisis was the best.
Yeah, even the old Virtual Cop, which Time Crisis kind of built on that and added the new dimension where you could duck down behind shit. And I loved all
The
that.
UK will definitely not be having guns for the foreseeable future after what happened here. Well, not in my part of the UK, but another part of the UK. Yesterday, a young guy went on a shooting rampage, killed 7 people. So the
Well,
UK
it's like
will
a
not be
Tuesday
allowing
in
guns
Chicago.
anytime soon.
How many
It's just
50s come in
Tuesday.
Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. It's real sad, Gemma. But that, like us over here, that's almost every freaking day over here.
Yeah.
It's a
Well,
sad
the
deal.
police don't have guns.
And the thing is now they're now trying to use the whole mental illness thing again. They're saying, "Oh, he was on the autistic spectrum. Oh, he was a mental nutcase," and I'm like,
Well,
Stop
in all
using
fairness,
that. It's
most of the
ridiculous.
people that do mass shootings have been diagnosed with mental illnesses and are on medication where they should not have guns in the first place.
Yeah.
Statistically, 90% of the people that conduct mass shootings are having a mental illness diagnosed and on medication.
Yeah, I mean,
Statistically.
Because what
Wow,
normal
okay, I didn't know
person would
that.
think it's okay to shoot a bunch of people?
No, it's not okay. Never, never, ever,
Area
ever,
51
ever
was a great
okay.
light gun
Never.
game too.
But there are
Well,
more
look-
stabbings in the UK than there are anything
Yeah.
else. So you just
Well-
you take one weapon away from them, they use another one.
And
Yeah,
no,
usually
the
if
best
it's a
wrestler of all
crime, it's
time
usually
was
knives
Sting,
over
not the
there.
Undertaker.
Best
Mm.
wrestler of all
that?
time is Undertaker. McNeil Entertainment.
That's
I'd
the
have to
wrestler?
actually disagree with you. Undertaker, yes, is a female. Is the female is a legend, but the top wrestler of all time for me has to be Shawn Michaels. I'm sorry, he's absolutely awesome.
The only reason that professional wrestling survived the 80s was from the best wrestling entertainer of all time, Hulk Hogan.
Oh,
See, that's the thing. Are we talking about like best actual wrestler or best character? Because I think
Who,
Sting is
who,
actually
who
the
do
best
you want to
character.
pay your money to watch? Because that's what
I
it's
would
all
watch
about.
Sting. He comes down from the fucking rafters, put him in the fucking stinger. Oh fuck yeah! Or Rey
I
Mysterio
never
Jr.
got to
because
see
The
he was
Sting
beginning
live.
of the Attitude Era was started from WCW and NWO.
Hell yeah!
When the NWO literally started trying to take over WCW.
But
Come on,
again,
some of the to me the three best wrestlers back in the 80s was Hulk Hogan, the Macho Man,
Yep.
and Ultimate
Oh,
Warrior.
Hulk Hogan. Oh, yes, he was very, very, very well respected over here.
To me,
A lot of
those
the
are like
UK
the
loved
three
him.
top ones for me.
Yeah, Macho Man was Shawn Michaels before Shawn Michaels existed. He was that flamboyant,
Matt
he was
J.
super talented. You know?
Matt J says UK girls look purdy, lol, blah. Wrestling if it ain't Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah, I don't mind Stone Cold, but I'm more of a HBK, Undertaker, and Hulk Hogan girl myself.
You remember Hollywood Steve Austin before Stone Cold? Does anybody remember that?
No,
Back in WCW, he was Hollywood Steve Austin.
no. I bet you he don't remember that shit either.
Oh, he does. He actually is. He has his own podcast too.
Ricky the
Yeah,
Dragon. Now, see, we've gone over to wrestling now. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Which
That's a whole nother show.
yeah, which Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was after who was the wrestler that was like that before him?
Mm.
Oh God.
I don't know. He was kind of the original.
Well, see, if
No,
you
there's
want to go
someone like
further
him
back,
before
I can tell you that there was Ric Flair.
Be ready,
Four
What's
Horsemen.
up, man.
All these people that literally were in ANW or
A&W root beer. That's
No,
delicious.
not
That's a
AEW.
restaurant.
No, Mid-South Wrestling's what I grew
Yeah.
up on with Von Erichs and Jerry Lawler.
Oh yes.
And that's where most of your WWF stars went through there. Even Sting was
Well,
partnered up with the Ultimate
WCW
Warrior.
started from
Yeah.
there too. A lot of people don't. The
Ultimate Warrior was
NWA.
awesome.
NWA. That's what it is.
Used to love the road.
No, it's not
Warrior.
NWA. It is
Oh,
not the
shut up.
NWA.
McNeil Entertainment says, what is it? Oh, I just missed it from there. Okay. Oh, Lazy Nate
Yes,
TV.
that is completely true. I have no problem with people owning guns as long as they can do it responsibly and under supervision.
Right.
I have anxiety, post-traumatic stress and stuff. But they also I don't have any guns. I don't have any guns, so
Lazy Nate
Nice.
TV says, all you roadie poo candy asses can take your Hulk Hogan, shine him up real nice, turn that some bitch sideways, and stick him up your candy asses. Oh, that's funny. Oh, God. You're also a rock fan, Lazy Nate. I
So
The
Ricky-
Rock.
can't
Well,
stand The
right.
Rock. I think he's so arrogant and up his own backside. It's unreal.
You have to give
Well,
The
I
Rock
mean-
a lot of credit. He turned that
he does awesome
wrestling
shit.
into the movies. It's amazing. Well, he realized it was
Jericho.
entertainment, right? So he turned whenever he was in the ring, there was a lot of pre-entertainment. There were a lot of times where he didn't fight or he wasn't in there to fight. He did a lot on the end of entertainment. So Smart man, because it turned right into a nice movie career for him.
I don't.
Matt.
I remember Chris Benoit. I do not
Yeah, I watched a
really.
documentary
I
about
really
him.
do not want to talk about him because what he did.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Chris
Don't talk
Benoit.
about it. We're
Chris
good.
Benoit did one of the most stupidest things he ever done.
I would say so.
I don't know what he did. What did he do?
He killed his wife and his kids.
Chris
And he
Benoit
got
killed his
kicked
own
out.
wife.
Well, yeah, that's pretty fucking stupid. Okay.
And
Yeah.
then he hung himself.
Well,
Then he
that
killed himself
wasn't stupid.
afterwards. Yeah.
Mhm.
That wasn't stupid. I always appreciate when the person that takes out innocent people and they take themselves out. I do, and I'm sorry if anybody in the chat doesn't agree with that. But if you're stupid enough to take out other people, please
Take care,
do me a favor,
Erase
take
Mike.
yourself out as well.
Well, the thing is that they literally examined him and they found out what he was doing, hitting people with his own head at times. That's why you've seen a lot of people not using head
Well,
hunts as
I'm
much.
sure you too many hits to the head for anybody, But it wasn't like boxers where you get hit with a padded glove, even though padded glove doesn't mean a whole lot in boxing. It means a little bit. But yeah, if you're hitting skull to skull, holy mackerel. Thank you, Matt. We'll give Matt a little something here. Let's see.
No.
No, we have to give him something.
No.
Okay, we'll do that. Gemma, don't look.
Tan lines is better.
Yeah, of course. I tell you, I've gone frame by frame. I've done it multiple times, and you don't see anything. So we're safe.
So I'm sitting here kind of cheating and Googled up some arcade games, stuff I forgot about. Battlezone. Remember Battlezone, the tank
You remember
game?
Battlezone?
Oh, man.
That was an interesting game to play too at
Little
times.
wireframe vector graphics. Robotron. Remember that? Yeah.
And I think they have a arcade game called Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
They did have a Ghostbusters game. Yep.
And I know somebody was talking about Dragon's Lair earlier, but Space Ace was much better than Dragon's Lair. I like Space Ace better.
Yeah, I remember Space Ace, but I also like Dragon's Lair too.
Oh, I like Dragon's Lair, but I like Space Ace a little bit better.
Well, see, I think if you kind of look at the Dragon's Lair,
Mm-hmm.
that's the only one that had a what they call those huge laser discs.
No, yeah, Space Ace was made by the same people. It's the same kind of setup where it played the cartoons.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was one of them, but because I know that Space Ace had the same setup as, and I actually got to look inside one of those things
Mm-hmm.
when someone was repairing them. He showed me how they literally put this huge laser disc player in these games. I think those are the only two games that they literally had that type of.
Now, Dragon's Lair 2, I really like, but if Dragon's Lair 2, the game would stop at a certain point if you didn't collect all these little items along the way.
Oh man.
So you would do all this, have all this crap memorized, and then you would get to a certain point and it would stop, and then there's all these little hidden items you got to grab too. So
Now, going back to arcade games, not talk about the arcade game itself, but can any of you remember going to an arcade game and it wouldn't accept your quarter because quarters were jammed in there?
yeah.
And you would sit there and you would mess with that thing until you got that thing unjammed and you get 6, 7, 8. I mean, I can remember doing that as a kid. I would sit there and I would mess with that thing and I'd hit the thing, and because no one else could play it because the thing's jammed up. And I would sit there and finally get the damn thing unjammed and get a bunch of quarters out. And I got the next, 45 minutes of playing because I unjammed the thing and got a bunch of quarters. So
Yeah.
A $10 roll of quarters was a whole night of entertainment back in those
yeah,
days.
it was. I'm not surprised. Dunes mentioned in Double Dragons. Nunez. Don't know what.
He probably meant no one's mentioned Double Dragon.
No one. Okay. I'm putting words together now.
Or Dungeons and Dragons.
You've been drinking
the game.
Yeah, putting words together. No one mentioned.
I wasn't a big Double Dragon fan for whatever reason. Like the kind of side-scrolling fighting, kind of like Double Dragon and TMNT. I really wasn't into those, and there were some really.
I used to like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat was a classic arcade game.
Most of those games where you had a ball, I had a hard time with. I was again, so I really didn't play them.
You ever pinch the crap out of your hand right here on the ball? Like you would go too hard. Yeah. Some of those old ones, it'd get your skin up between the ball and the cabinet.
Well,
I would try those games like Gold Tee and whatnot, because you'd be at places where they'd have pool tables and a Gold Tee, and that was it. So if you wanted to play a video game, you were playing Gold Tee. And I tried it. I was never any good at that, man. There was you had to know how hard you to do that based on the club and everything else, and I just was never any good at it. So
remember the little sit-down tabletop?
Yeah,
versions of all
I
these
miss
games?
playing Mortal Kombat. It was one of my favorites.
yeah, as we were talking about that earlier, like a friend of mine when I first got out of the military had to sit down Miss Pac-Man.
Mm.
And I could sit there for an hour and a half and just play Miss Pac-Man over and over and over. Now, of course, I'd much rather it be a different game, but that's what it was. So
I used to play Mortal Kombat on my Sega, my Sega Master System console. I miss playing that kind of game.
For us over here, it's a Sega Genesis, same console.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember Fix It Felix Jr.? That's an arcade game.
Oh no! Wait a minute. The Master System was before the Genesis. I'm sorry. You're right.
what
That was the
one
old
did you mention, Fulton?
It was called the Fix It Felix Jr. Arcade game.
Wasn't that made from that movie Wreck-It Ralph?
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
That Wreck-It Ralph movie is pretty cool because they bring in all those old arcade characters and stuff.
Mm-hmm. There's old Ralph.
Yeah, the Wreck-It Ralph movie. That was good. That was a good film.
Oh, where they had the other character come up and fix it, and he's trying to destroy it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
And I kind of remember it, but it was, again, for me personally, it wasn't one of those ones that I played. But again, I want to say that was later on in the later 80s. Because again, most of my game playing was probably, at the arcades, was probably between 80 and 85. Once I got a girlfriend in my senior year in high school, I was playing something else. So I still liked arcade games, but, I was driving, working, doing other things. So, as I'm sure most guys were then.
I was still going to the arcade. I don't know why Marchdale put up with me.
That's
I
what
played
cracks,
mostly these arcade games when I
that's what
used
cracks me up with young men now. Young men now seem like they're more interested in video games than they are girls.
That's because games are awesome.
What's up, JCT?
the JCT.
Video games are awesome, but man, their awesomeness only goes so far.
Not if you get virtual reality.
I knew it was going there. I just knew it was going to go there.
Well, they had a movie come out not too long ago, which is based on virtual reality video games and stuff like that.
Yeah, Ready Player One.
Which I got to
The
see
name
a
of the
little
movie
bit.
was Ready Player One. That was the name of the movie.
Was it?
Hey,
Damn,
Shane.
Stocky Shane, that was a long damn phone call,
Hey,
brother.
Shane.
It's
New
because video
Entertainment
games won't
says it's
leave you.
because. Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily say girls would leave you. It depends if your relationship is strong enough to last. I think there's a lot more girls, women who will play video games, but at the same time, some girls don't like it. Like for me, I used to play video games obsessively when I was younger, but now I hardly ever play video games unless I'm around my nephew's house. But I'm not a big video game player, but I do play them when I go to my nephew's house because he has an arcade game that we play together, and I see him.
Well, I would assume women like men that are good with their hands, but they don't want their hands to be all over everything else. They like their, just saying.
Hey, I'm telling you, these joysticks, man, do wonders.
Oh my goodness. Is Luther coming? Oh, hold on a second. Hold on here. Oh, I thought maybe Luther had come in here. It's a different time.
Oh, Phil.
Yeah. What?
Premier Hell is going to get his kids back.
That's good to hear.
Woohoo!
Yep. It's a shame when anything happens to someone like that. So hopefully whatever happened to get his kids taken away from doesn't happen again. So
Yeah.
Lurker Erica. His neighbor girl in here.
Aricia.
His neighbor girl in here not telling us what's going on. I didn't see her in here.
Oh, I do.
Oh, you do, huh? Okay. So did we miss anything? Did we miss any? I mean, we went to wrestling. We went to video game consoles. Did we miss anything on any of the stand-up video games? But still, I look, there she is. See, she's hiding.
Hey, neighbor girl.
The neighbor girl.
Ahoy, neighbor girl.
We're all quiet all of a sudden. I'm looking this up. Top 25. Yeah, I think we have pretty much covered them all.
What's in the vape? Mango melon mashup.
Mango melon mashup. So does anybody else want to start a live?
I am actually downloading a video game right now because the Diablo 2 Resurrected, so the remaster, the beta just came out today that I'm in the beta, so I don't know if I'm going to stream or I'm pretty fucking tired. My head is still killing me. I might be going to bed soon.
Well,
Yeah, I'm pretty tired too, Travis.
Jimmy says he wants to do a stream.
I could do something, but it won't be too long because the storms are rolling in.
Yeah, that might be an issue, right?
I really streamed last night.
I haven't streamed this whole week. Imagine that.
I streamed for like 2 hours earlier.
Well, that's me. I streamed on Monday, but then I'm in everybody else's stream,
I streamed for 5 minutes today.
Yeah, I saw you go live.
I was at. I just went and watched it. I gave you one. So rock on, man. I had to go see what the hell that was all about. So good for you, man. Good for you.
Yeah, Jimmy, babe. That's a lot of things.
I have to go back and check Groovy stream then because I didn't get a notification, so I have to go back and watch it.
Yeah,
that sucks. Them to subscribe to Groovy for a long time. What the hell? YouTube sucks.
I am vaping Jam Monster Blueberry. That's what I'm vaping.
Gemma,
I will go back and watch it.
You know a Brandon Jackson?
Yeah,
He's from UK too.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I've been following Brandon a long time. I know Brandon very well.
Yeah, he was on Premiere Hell stream.
Yeah,
tell you,
Brandon's a
Which was
follower of
like
mine.
last night.
Yeah. I may or may not do something that. If I do, it might just be a private thing. I don't know. We'll see.
All right.
It's
Well,
been a
listen,
weird week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, I'm going to wrap this up tonight. I do appreciate everyone being up here tonight. Ojisan, Groovy, Gemma, Mr. Fulton, Russell. Appreciate you guys being here. Everyone out in the chat. Those of you that super chatted, I do appreciate it. Be ready, McNeil, Jadzia, Neighbor Girl. Oh, let's see who else is out there. Matt J. Do appreciate you guys coming, being a part of what we do. You know, everything is about being a part of. When you're in a live stream, whether you're on the panel or you're in the chat, it's about participating in it. So it's fun if everybody participates, and it makes it fun, more fun for everyone that's here. So I do appreciate y'all. I love
Jimmy, you
y'all.
want me to go live?
Make sure you guys check my new video out.
Go ahead.
I'll go live.
All right,
All right.
Keep it spicy, man.
give
Keep
it a minute.
it spicy.
We'll go over to
Keep it spicy.
Groovy, guys.
Yep.
Keep it spicy.
Keep it spicy, y'all.
Keep it spicy, yo.
Take care, guys.